to basic Excel functions. Introduction to basic Excel functions. Okay, so by the end of the lesson, you should understand what formulas and functions are. You should understand why formulas are important in Excel. You should learn how formulas work, use basic Excel functions, perform simple calculations, and understand how formulas improve data analysis. A formula. What's a formula? A formula is an instruction used to perform calculation in Excel. Formulas help Excel add numbers, subtract values, multiply figures, divide calculations, and solve problems automatically. So it's just like a way of automating, um like to solve something automatically. For example, instead of calculating manually, Excel calculates automatically using formulas. So for example, if you just say maybe A1, that's a cell. You know A1 now is a cell. So A1 plus C4, which is another cell. By the time you add them together, it means whatever value anybody entered in A1 and entered in C4, those values will come together and add themselves together. So examples of formula: imagine a teacher calculating students' score manually. That takes time, takes energy, and may create mistakes, but Excel formula helps them to solve this problem instantly. For example, if A1 is 20 and B1 is 10, the formula A1 plus B1 will return 30. Every Excel formula starts with equal to sign. So take note of that. This sign, the equal to sign, is very, very crucial in every Excel formula. Without the equal sign, Excel treats the entry as ordinary text. So it means if you don't apply the equal to file, if you write just A1 plus B1, the value you'll be seeing is what A1 plus B1. It will take it as a string. But when you put equals to file, Excel understand that you are talking about what? A formula. So a function is what's a function? No, we looked at formula, so now we are looking at function. A function is a pre-built formula already created inside Excel. Functions are ready-made calculation tools. Excel already knows how they work. That's the Excel function is a formula that function is like inbuilt. It's inbuilt into the Excel. You know, formula now you are the one that wrote it. Okay, A1 plus A2 plus A3. That's what you wrote. But for functions, they are inbuilt, so it means the function must have a name. So that name is what we used to call it. That's a generally accepted name. So functions are ready-made calculation tools. Excel already knows how they work because it is inbuilt. Excel already knows how they work. It's just like saying you have a calculator, for example. You know, in your calculator, if you say 3 raised to the power of 4, you don't have to start explaining to your calculator what that power means. Your calculator already knows what power means, and it already knows how to apply the power. So instead of adding many numbers manually, A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5, Excel provides a function called sum. And what this function does is that it becomes what sum of, that means it tells us sum A1 dot A5. That means A1 to up till A5. So what that means is instead of you having to write each part you want to sum individually, you can just use this sum function to do that. Now let's look at formula versus function. Formula are created manually by users. So for formula, you are the one that creates the whole thing that you want to do. While function are already built into Excel. So you can even use Excel functions to create your formula. So I don't know if you get that. So functions save time, it reduces stress, it improves speed, it reduces error, and it automates analysis. So the general structure of functions, every function follows one simple structure. So this is where you should be very, 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 very sensitive now when it comes to Excel function. So take note of this. Every formula follows one simple structure, and this is the structure: equals to function name, then in brackets arguments. So first thing is that when you have an Excel function, it must follow this structure: function name and argument. Now example, equals to sum A1 to A10. What does this mean? Equals to is what starts the formula. Sum is the function name. So there are many functions in Excel. I think we have about more than 500 functions in Excel, and each of them have a name. So just like you can have 500 persons and all of them have a name. All of them have separate names, like different 500 names, and you cannot call them like you can identify each person that bears each name. That's the same thing with the Excel functions too. It has a name, and the name can be identified. You can identify that this sum, this is the role of sum. You understand? So this A1 to A10 contains the information the function needs, and that is what the arguments. That is the arguments, and it contains the information the function needs. What are arguments? Arguments are simply the information you give a function. So when you have told a function that, okay, when you pick a function that function, come, I want to use you. Every function has a role they play. So you tell the function, okay, I want to use you. Then it knows the role you play. So therefore, it means you must give him the information needed for him to play his role effectively. Now think of it this way. A chef cannot cook without ingredients, right? So if you call a chef now, no matter how the chef could have been best, no matter how the chef could have been advertised all around, and you say, okay, Mr. Chef, come and cook for my wedding. Immediately the chef comes around ready to cook for your wedding, and you now tell the chef, okay, there is no budget, no ingredients, I heard you are good, just prepare the food. There is no way the chef will actually get the food done without the ingredients. So this means a function cannot work as well without your argument. So argument is what you want the function to perform its function on. So the function has its own function, what it does. So that thing you do it on these numbers or do it on this argument. So example, in equals to sum a1 to a10, the argument is what? A1 to a10. Anything that is inside the bracket is the argument. In this one now, equals to round. So round is the function name. The argument is what? A1 comma 2. So the arguments are what? A1 and 2. This one has two arguments. This one now has just one argument, A1 to A10. It's just that it takes a range. Do you understand? Alright, so why function needs arguments? Oh yeah, I think we already talked about this. Sorry. Why function needs arguments? So imagine someone says add these numbers. Your next question will be which numbers? This is exactly the same question that Excel will ask. So a function only knows how to perform a task. You must tell it what to work on. So perform what you know how to do. So that's do what you know how to do on these numbers. All right. The three things every function has. Almost every function contains these three parts. Number one, the function name. This is the first part you must see. Number one, the function name. This is the first part you must see in the function, and this tells Excel what job to perform. Examples are sum, if, count, max. So these are examples of the function name. Number one, function name. This tells Excel what job to perform. Examples are sum, if, count, max. These are various names of functions in Excel. Another one is argument. This tells Excel what to work on. Example are A1 to A20, 100, true. So whatever you give it as an argument. Number three is results. Excel performs a calculation and returns an answer. So after you have input your function name and argument, then the Excel now works on the argument based on the function name and then returns a result. Now let's understand function syntax. Understanding function syntax. This is where many students struggle. The syntax simply explains how a function should be written. Think of syntax as the recipe. I think we already talked about that. Now, for example, let's take a case study. The sum syntax. Let's take a case study with the sum syntax. So we have sum number one, then number two. Dot dot dot. So student, when you see this something like this, you often panic because you don't know what exactly. Okay, what am I to do now with this function? Some of us cannot even read the function and know how to apply it. So let's look at it now. Remember we talked about the phases of a function. So number one, we saw the sum, right? Come back to the function. We saw the place of sum. Sorry. Okay, sum number one and number two. So number one, this is compulsory. Excel must receive at least one number. Then number two, notice the square brackets. This bracket you have. Square bracket means what? It is optional. So it means we can just go with something like this and we get a return, a value. But if there is need for you to add multiple numbers, you can keep adding more numbers. So square bracket means optional. You can include it or leave it. Example, equals to sum a1 to a5, comma b1 to b5. Now this is the first number, which is compulsory that a number, at least for you to use the sum function, you must give it a number or a cell range to sum, or simply sum equals to sum. These are both correct. So either you write something like this or you write something like this, you are correct in both sides. Now the last thing we saw on that syntax was dot dot dot. So the three dots means you can continue adding more arguments. There are some syntax that does not allow more than two arguments. There are some syntax that allows you to continue adding more arguments. So when you see dot dot dot, these three dots on a syntax, it means the syntax allows you to add more arguments. So the meaning of common symbols you can see on a syntax equal to, this must always start every formula. When you see this particular bracket, it holds argument. That is, it is inside that bracket you put in your argument. The comma is used to separate arguments. So when you see comma in between two maybe numbers or cell range inside the bracket, it means what? They are different arguments. Then this symbol colon is used to create a range. When you want to pick a range, a1 colon a5, that's a1 to a5. Then this bracket here is shows what? Optional arguments. Then the three dots shows that more arguments are allowed. The quotes shows that what? Text value. When you want to enter text value, you quote it so that when you are telling your Excel to return, if you say return 2, Excel might just return. In some cases, if you say return 0, exam might return false, because if you go look at logical functions, if you tell Excel return 0, it can return false, because according to Excel in logical function, 0 and 1 are false and true. So it means when we input this now, when you want to write a test, you want it to return a test, maybe for example return pass, you want it to return pass, it means this quote must be there so that it will return pass. Now true or false, they are logical values. So types of arguments. Function accepts different kinds of information. Number one, cell reference is a type of argument. That is a1, b5, you can pick a particular cell reference, just reference a particular cell. Number two is cell range. You can take it maybe a1 to a20. That's another type of argument that you can input. Number three is number, e.g. 100. 100 is an argument. Can be an argument. Tests, an argument. You can also input pass, is also an argument. Then logical value, true, false, they are also arguments. Another function can be an argument in a function. So functions can even contain other functions. Example, equals to sum average of this, comma 100. That means if you first find the average of this, then now add it to 100. That's what you are simply telling the Excel function to do here. So equals to sum average. So this average of this is a function on its own. So a function enters into the argument. And in this kind of one, it is called nexting functions. Take note of that. It's called nexting functions. So categories of Excel functions. Instead of trying to memorize 500 plus functions, study them in group. So this is you studying how to use Excel functions now. Number one, we have mathematical functions. They are used for calculations. Examples include sum, product, round, Abiscar, mod, and all of that. Statistical function used for analyzing data. Examples are average, count, max, mean, median. Logical functions used for decision making. Examples if, and, or not, and so on. Text functions used for manipulating text. Example left, right, mid, len, concat, text join, and so on. Next, date and time functions. Example today, now, date, year, month, day. All of these are function names and there is a way they are being used. Lookup and reference functions used for searching data. Examples XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index, match. Financial functions. Example PMT, FV, PV, rate. Information functions, example, ix number, ix blank, ix error. So how to study any function, any Excel function. So instead of memorizing hundreds of functions, when you pick a particular function, just ask yourself 6 questions. 6 questions. Whenever you want to learn a new function, just ask yourself 6 questions, and these 6 questions will help you to know how to use the function. Number one, ask yourself, what does the function do? So example, sum adds numbers. Sum is a function that helps you to add numbers. So if you are finding any difficulty knowing what a function do, you can just take that function name, type it online. What does a VLOOKUP do? It will tell you, you will get information on what the function does. Shey you understand? And with that, you have answered the first question. The second question, what is its syntax? That one can be seen with Excel, in an Excel sheet. Once you press the function name, it will show you the syntax. Then after having looked at the syntax, the next question becomes, what argument does it require? So if you look at sum now, what argument does it require? A number, a number, a number, then maybe more numbers. You understand? So you look at the function and look at it, what arguments does it require, then you see that. So you know from there which arguments are compulsory, the ones that are not inside this kind of bracket. Then the ones in this bracket are what? They are the optional ones. So which ones are optional? What type of data does it accept? So what does it return? That's another thing you ask yourself. Does it return a number? Does it return a text? Does it return true or false? Does it return a date? Does it return an error? When should I use it? Know the situations where the function is most useful. You need to know the situation where the function becomes most useful. Then practice with example. Practice with examples. Use simple data first, then increase the complexity of the function. So here is the practical task for you.